Hi, my name is Mary. Thank you for joining us today. We have a very, very special program, and it's going to turn into a sequence. This is so exciting. We're going to talk about mindfulness, and we're actually going to be moving with mindfulness. Yay! Before you begin this or any other exercise program, you'll want to check with your doctor, and he'll tell you exercises you should or shouldn't do. Also, you'll want to wear loose, comfortable clothing, so when we bend or stretch, you don't feel restricted at all. And you're going to want to have water. We drink water before and during and after our time together. And you'll work at your own pace. Mira's going to tell us a bunch of information, and we're going to take that information and use it when we exercise to move and stretch. This is going to be so exciting. I'm so excited. So, listen to your body. If we're moving or stretching a little more than you're comfortable with, then you back right off. If you think you can exaggerate the move safely, then go right ahead and do that. And of course, before you do this or any kind of other exercise program, you're going to want to make sure you have good fuel in you. All those fresh fruits and vegetables. So we want to begin today by introducing ourselves to Mira.
Thank you, Mary. I am thrilled to be here. When you mentioned this back in December, I think it was, I've been picturing this moment all this time, so I am thrilled to be here. Yes, we're going to talk about mindfulness today, and I'd just like to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Mira. I taught school for 38 years. I taught elementary school, a little bit of middle school, and a little bit of college at University of Hartford as well, children's literature, which is my favorite. I play piano, I play guitar, I love music. I incorporated music into my teaching of reading, reader's theater, movement, instruments. So becoming mindful and talking about this to adults is kind of a natural progression because we talked about this with our students and being mindful, thinking about what they're reading. So I will get into mindfulness so maybe some of you have heard of the term mindfulness. It is a term that's out there a lot nowadays. And you might say, what is mindfulness? Well, mindfulness always reminds it has something to do with the mind and our thinking. So being an elementary school teacher, I do have a lot of little props. So mindfulness is being aware of the present moment. But it's not just being aware, but being also non-judgmental, which is so hard sometimes because we have that inner critic in us. So what do I mean by being present and aware of the moment? Well, right now, I am really aware of my environment and really enjoying this because as I say, I was an actor, I was in drama, I was in music, so the lights just make me feel alive. And being here with Mary is a wonderful experience. And as I look at our background and I look at this waterfall, if I was standing there or even just looking at this picture, being mindful would be including all my senses. I would see the beautiful waterfall. I would hear it lapping into the pond below. I would see the sunlight and the shadows. I certainly would feel the radiance of the sun on my skin and the heat. So that's being mindful, taking in your environment, taking in your thoughts. What are you thinking at this time? And taking everything in and just being aware and living in the present moment. Because when you're living in the present moment, there are no problems from the past and there's no anticipation of the future. So you are calm, you can breathe, and you are at peace. So interestingly enough, I found some statistics, but before we do that, I want to pose a question. You know, we see each other all the time say, "Hi, how are you? How are you?" "Oh, I'm fine," or whatever the answer might be. But I want you to think about asking yourself each morning, or maybe your friends, how are you thinking? Because the way you are thinking is the way you are going to react and to problems that day, to anything that comes along your way. So if you are mindful of how you are thinking, you are mindful of maybe having a negative thought about something. If you're mindful of that, you might do something with it. You might try to change that. Very interesting how we really operate on an autopilot. I know the other day I was driving and really I said, what am I doing on 91 South? I wasn't supposed to go this way, but I was so used to doing that, so I had to turn around and go the other way. So that was like a perfect example of autopilot, unfortunately, not thinking of where I was going. So statistics show 95% of our behavior is autopilot. 95%. That's a big percentage. Self-talk. We all have that, what I like to call the inner roommate, the person, the critic inside of you that is talking to you, sometimes positively, sometimes negatively. Well, 97% of the time, we have this self-talk. We're talking to ourselves. We're our best conversationalist. 70,000 thoughts per day. That's one thought per 2 seconds. It's a lot of thinking. And 70 decisions per day. A lot of food for thought there. So if we're doing all of this autopilot, and a lot of times maybe it's our habit to be a little bit self-critical, well, that's a lot of negatives coming into our bodies. And as we know, negative feelings, negative thoughts can cause stress in our bodies. So if we are mindful, if we are asking ourselves, what am I thinking? And if it's one of these autopilot thoughts and they're not making you happy, they're not bringing you peace, then we need to change that. And that's what mindfulness is all about, in a nutshell. Today, we're going to talk more about mindfulness and exercising. We talked about mindfulness if you were out hiking and in this beautiful scene, what you would notice, what you would feel, what your thoughts would be. But today, in this program, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to use mindfulness when you are exercising. And I think the big component of mindfulness is also being non-judgmental, using compassion instead of being judgmental, excuse me. So many times, even when we're exercising, oh, I'm not doing it right. Oh, when is this going to be over? Oh, I'm not really good at this. Oh, this is so hard. This hurts. Instead of being judgmental and thinking that you can't do this or you're not doing it right, we need to just take that thought, acknowledge it. We don't want to not acknowledge thoughts, but what do we do with it? That's the point. Do we dwell in these thoughts, or do we look at it from a different perspective and try to move into more positive, peaceful thoughts? So I guess the question I want you to remember for today is, how are you thinking? I love talking about this also, Mary, because this is something that I really try to incorporate into my life more and more. I was telling you earlier that as an educator, I read a lot about theories. And theories, educational theories about brain research, how kids learn, how we all learn. Theory is all great, but when you can't put it into practical examples and strategies in the classroom, it doesn't mean anything. And that's how I feel about this. Everything that we're going to talk about today, it's a strategy that I am incorporating into my life when something comes up, when I have a negative thought. Okay, Mira, use your strategies. How are you thinking? What kind of autopilot thoughts are you having? What can you do with that? Are you going to dwell in this, or are you going to be in the present moment and move on? And that's what we want to do. So, on to exercise and mindfulness. Well, I think one of the things that we really want to practice today, breathe. I know it sounds simple, but there were so many times when I forget to breathe. Or so many times when the breathing is shallow. We're so busy throughout the day. We're breathing up here. We're not taking in deep belly breaths. A few years ago, I had some vocal problems. And that's one of the things my therapist told me. She said, Mira, you're doing a lot of shallow breathing. You're not supporting your whole system. You're not belly breathing so that you have enough air. And so that got me thinking as well. So we need to breathe. When we take breath in, we energize. And we're going to talk about that as we exercise and use this strategy. When we breathe out, we relax. So breathe in, breathe out. Ooh,
I like that one.
I like this too. It's moving, yes. Again, I love my props and my colors, but mindfulness, this brings me joy. So why would I use something that brings me joy? As I was creating this, I was thinking about today. I was thinking about what I was going to say. I was being mindful. So mindfulness also can prepare you for things to come. Okay, let's get into an exercise where we can practice breathing and be mindful of where the breath is going, how our body is feeling.
Okay, before we do that, let's get a drink of water. How do you feel about that?
Thank you, Mary.
There we go. Love water.
Water can taste so good sometimes.
It certainly can. So, when we think about breathing, like Mira said, a lot of times we're anxious, and many times we're stressed and don't even realize it because stress accumulates little by little by little. And it isn't until we start to breathe that we start to relax. So, one of the things about breathing that we're going to do is we're simply going to place our hands on our chest. We're going to breathe in and notice that our chest rises slightly. And as we breathe out, we notice that the chest drops and relaxes. Then we take our hands and we place them on the sides of the ribs. And we breathe in, and as we do, we notice our ribs expand widely and our fingers come apart. And when we breathe out, our fingers come together. Now we're going to the belly breathing that Mira was talking about. So we place our hands on our belly, we breathe in, and the belly pops out a little. And as we exhale, the belly softens. There you go. So now we're going to take one hand and place it on the belly and one hand and place it on the chest. Let's see if we can keep our chest quiet as we breathe the air all the way down into our lungs, which will push on the diaphragm, which will push our belly out a little. Let's take a slow, gentle, soft, big breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, slow stream of air through pursed lips. A gentle but big breath in. And as you exhale through pursed lips, slow and gentle. So some people say, well, I really don't know how to breathe. So let's try to breathe in 2 counts and breathe out 3. So we'll breathe in 1, 2, hold it. And breathe out slowly, 1, 2, 3. So you'll notice that we breathed out longer than we breathed in. We're going to start to get rid of residual oxygen and stale air in our stomachs. Now let's try to breathe in for 3 and out for 4. Breathe in 1, 2, 3. Hold it. Breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it getting a little hard?
A little bit, yeah.
So again, like Mira was saying, don't judge yourself. Don't say, oh, I could only count to 2 and 3. It's okay. The more you do it, the more you practice it, the better you'll get. So if you said, oh, I couldn't do it, I'm not doing really well, say to yourself, as an idea, I'm doing it, I'm trying. And that's the most important thing, right, Mira?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That we're mindful of our self-talk.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And not being able to get to 3 or 4, don't worry, with practice you will. Now we are so good, we're going to breathe in for 4 and out for 5.
Okay.
So you can place your hands on your belly, a hand on the chest, you can relax your hands, whatever works for you. But we're breathing in through the nose and out through pursed lips. And that way not too much air will come out all at one time. So we breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it. Breathe out slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's like not a lot of air in there anymore. And that's a good thing. So breathing in and breathing out is important. Like Mira said, being mindful about not judging how you're breathing, it's good. Just breathing is important. Some people, when they're breathing in and out, simply say as they're breathing in and breathing out. So there's no counting at all. And there's no judgment negative about that one. Because if you're breathing in, you're gonna breathe out. So it's a gentle breath in and a gentle breath out. Now we notice something. As we breathe in, the cool healing properties of oxygen-rich air come in through the nasal passage. Feel that cool air? And as we exhale, warm filtered air comes out through our mouth. So if we breathe in, we can feel that cool air around our nostrils going in. And as we breathe out, we can feel warm air coming out. Good job. Breathing in and breathing out. And just by focusing on your breathing in and breathing out, saying to yourself, breathing in, breathing out, that in itself is mindful because you're not thinking about your shopping list that you have to get to. You're not thinking about what you might have said in the past that, bothered you or somebody else. When you're focused on breathing in and breathing out, that's part of mindfulness, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I sort of like keeping my hands here because it just reminds me whether I'm doing it correctly. I know when it becomes part of your muscle, as we used to say, you've embodied it, you do it naturally. But as we're practicing, I like to feel their belly go out and then come back in. And I have to say, you may notice that I close my eyes whenever we do exercises because I like to visualize. And that's part of mindfulness also. Visualizing is picturing. And right now, I'm picturing all the energy that is around us because we're all made of energy. And as we're breathing in that air, I visualize these little molecules of energy, of air coming in and energizing me, and then coming out and relaxing me. So that I'm thinking also of energize, relax, energize, relax. So there are many ways, and I think you have to find your own little mantra, your own little saying that makes sense to you and that helps you put that into that moment. And that's it. Mindfulness is being in the moment, or sometimes as we heard, in the zone. That was a popular term as well, but really being present with your breath. Such an easy thing. We breathe in and out all day long, but when you really stop,
focus.
And when you really stop to think what the air is doing, as you were explaining, wow. We just take it for granted, and it's really a miraculous thing.
It is a miracle.
Thing.
Yep, just breathing in. And if you breathe in and think to yourself that you are breathing in the healing properties and energy of the oxygen-rich air, that comes into your body, goes down into your lungs, and then it gets brought into the blood and transferred to every single cell in your body. And then that energy tells every cell, remember how it feels to feel healthy. Yes. And then it takes all that tension, and as you exhale, you release. So we can actually try some of that. Would you like to try some of that?
I would love to, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we can start simply by relaxing our hands on our thighs, okay? We're just going to breathe in and exhale. Now we're going to curl our fingers into a little tiny fist. Breathe in. And as you exhale, instead of releasing tension, squeeze, 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 and then release the tension. Ah. Could you feel the difference? So we're going to make a little fist. Breathe in now. Squeeze tighter and exhale on the whole exhale, relax. Good work. You're doing great. It might seem silly, but you're going to feel terrific. Also, mindfulness training is supposed to be very good for your immune system.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Breathe in. Squeeze tight. Tighter, tighter. Breathe out. Ah. So just using something as simple as your hands. Also, you could relax your hands and work on your shoulders. As you breathe in, you could relax your hands down by your side or relax them on your lap. Whatever works for you, whatever is the easiest for you. Because you don't want to judge yourself and go, oh, my hands are on my lap, they'd be more comfortable down here. Find a position that's most comfortable for you. You'll notice that Mirror and I are at the edges of our chair, which makes our belly and back work to keep us up into good straight spines. So we have our ears over our shoulders over our hips. And when we breathe in, we tend to lift our ribs, and that allows those lungs room to expand. Yes. Okay, so let's work with the shoulders. As we breathe in, draw the shoulders up towards the ears. And as you exhale, feel the shoulders relax down. And if you say to yourself, I'm really not getting it, we could add an element of being verbal. So we can breathe in through the nose And as you exhale, you can go,
I like that.
Great job. And it makes you feel good when you're going,
It does. Yep.
So let's try it again. Breathe in. Breathe out, That just makes me feel good doing that.
It does.
One
Release.
Yes, exactly. And we're not judging ourselves that we didn't breathe in long enough, out long enough. We weren't loud enough on our exhale. All we do is say, so that's where we are. Great. We're trying.
And you know, Mary, a lot of people, I know I do, I carry a lot of stress in my shoulders. So anything with doing something like that and releasing that pressure is just very relaxing because we all carry stress in different places, but that certainly is a place where I can sometimes, by the end of the day, it's like, oh, I need a good massage. So this is a great thing to do to release some of their stress.
So then we'll take it a step further, okay? Because we do. And when people feel tension in their neck, the back of their neck and their shoulders, when you say, oh, that's so-and-so, he has such a pain in the neck, really, that could be true. Being around a person might cause you a pain in the neck. So again, we can't judge, no judgment.
Nope.
So all we're going to do is take good care of ourselves. So we're going to breathe in. Now we're going to go a little higher. So we're going to breathe in with one breath, a little higher. Let go. One more time. Breathe in, a little higher. Third time, please. Breathe in, a little higher through the nose. Now that is really good. But a lot of times during the day, we tend to round over. We're either reading or on the computer or driving, but we tend to round over. So we're going to be breathing in, drawing the shoulders up. And as we exhale, we're going to be pulling the shoulders back and settling them down.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Breathe in, shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders back and down. I'll show you from the side. Breathing in, shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, draw the shoulders back and settle those shoulder blades down into your back hip pockets. And of course, we can use verbalization. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, shoulders up. Breathe out. One more time, please. Breathe in. Breathe out. So that is a really good way to relax.
Nice.
And we're mindful. And we're not judging ourselves. And we're doing it nice and easy. Just breathing.
I just wanted to mention another thing that I picture besides my little molecules of energy entering and spreading throughout my body. When we do an isolation like this, I like to really picture the bones in my body, like right here in the shoulder, feeling my shoulder, the collarbone and the shoulder blades, really moving up and back, helps me to stay in the moment. So sometimes instead of thinking, you can do an exercise and you're thinking about a grocery list or who's coming for dinner tonight or what am I going to make, you say, wait a minute, let me just tune into what are my shoulders doing right now? That's right. My shoulders are rising. My shoulder blades are going to the back right now. I am breathing. And that just naturally takes you into the mindfulness and a better quality of exercise.
Perfect. So we can start today. We're just going to work on the shoulders and we're going to talk about breathing. But before we end our time together, let Mira kind of encapsulate what we did today.
Oh, I'd love to. I'm going to bring up my props again because, again, we talked about how are you thinking? Mindfulness. Be present in the moment. Acknowledge the present moment. Live in the moment. Be non-judgmental. If a negative thought comes into your mind, it's fine. We're human. But be mindful of it and think about, am I going to dwell in this negative moment and negative thought? Am I going to do something about it? What can I do? And as time goes on, we'll talk a little bit more about that. So how are you thinking?
So what are some examples of how are you thinking? Like if somebody said, how are you thinking? I'd go, I don't know what you mean. How are you thinking?
What's on your mind? I'm going to be very honest about something. Before coming over here, I got on the scale this morning. Well, it wasn't to my liking. I really, driving over here, I thought, Mira, if you're going to be mindful and you're going to change your mood around, you've got to say, okay, yes, it's not where I want it to be. But am I going to dwell there and just continue going down this path? Or am I going to turn it around and have a wonderful day? I'm coming here. I'm going to have a great time with Mary. I'm going to talk about something that I love. And you know what? It has put me in a better mood. So that's what I mean about being mindful and being aware of what am I thinking? Because again, which brings me to autopilot. We sometimes don't know. Like if somebody says, how are you thinking? You're just automatically thinking. And so if you stop and say, oh, I'm actually worried about something that's coming up in the future. I'm kind of anxious about it. That's really what I'm thinking about. Is that where I want to be, or do I want to become more mindful and talk about, why am I worried about that? What can I do right now in this present moment? Because worrying just depletes you of today's energy. It doesn't really solve tomorrow's problem. And so we don't want to be depleted of energy. So by being mindful of what you are actually thinking, and yes, Mary, in the beginning, that's sort of a strange question because we're not used to that. We're actually used to asking each other, how you doing? How are you? Fine, fine. Oh, everything's great. Yeah. And you know what? And inside you might be not great and something is wrong and a problem. So again, asking yourself, I'm not telling you to go to other people and say, how are you thinking? Because they might not understand it. But ask yourself when you get up in the morning, anytime during the day, how am I thinking? Where are my thoughts? Your thoughts create your day creates your life. So that's why it's very important. And so, so today we talked about mindfulness, non-judgmental, and automatic behavior, autopilot. Let's move into more mindfulness. And the strategy we worked on today as we exercise, breathe. Breathe in and energize. Breathe out and relax.
That is perfect. So let's end today by taking a great big breath in, gathering all the positive energy from the universe and bringing it right to our heart. Now we breathe out, we're going to get rid of all our tension. And let's shake all our tension away. There you go. Just let it shake off your fingers like maybe you had water on your fingers and you're shaking it out. You're shaking all your tension out.
My kindergartners used to be great at this. They could shake it out.
That's right. So yeah, she's not only got her hands going, Mira's got her whole body going. That's right. We could do this. We're going to shake our...
Don't we get our energy going when we shake?
We do.
Yeah,
we
so
do.
That's
we
just
actually
another
get
way
a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take one more breath in. And as you exhale, know and understand that somehow, some way, all will be well. You did a great job. We can't wait to see you next. Until then, let's get a nice drink of water and practice being mindful. So when we take our water and we drink our water, we put it to our lips. We feel the cool water on our lips. We're mindful of the cool water going down our throat.
Yes, very nice and refreshing. Just like when after exercise, you're thirsty. As I said, water never tastes so good sometimes. But after you've exercised and you need that coolness going into your body.
Okay, so cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, Mary.
Cheers. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.